Soccer kicks, stomps, and knees to the head of a downed fighter. One of those is absolutely game-changing in mixed martial arts. Two of them are not.
Last year I appeared in a Sensei Seth video where we discussed rules that Seth thought were kind of strange in the UFC, including no soccer kicks or stomps to the head of a downed fighter. This is a rule that is unique to the UFC. Not every MMA organization uses the unified rules of mixed martial arts that the UFC does. For example, when I started fighting in China, soccer kicks, head stomps, knees to the head were perfectly legal. Now, when you fight in China today, it's a different story. Most organizations use the unified rules. In that video, most of the commentary that I made hit the cutting room floor because, well, Seth does a pretty good job of keeping his videos short, to the point, digestible chunks for the average viewer. Today we're going to do a deep dive into that particular topic of head kicks, stomps, and knees to the head of a downed fighter, and how much difference it actually makes in the sport of mixed martial arts. Spoiler alert. Soccer kicks to the head of a downed opponent don't actually make as much difference as you might think.
I've actually fought under this rule set that allows head stomps, soccer kicks, etc. When I first started fighting in China, it wasn't as game-changing as you think it is. With very few exceptions, it happens at the point where the referee should be stopping the fight anyway.
You might know doing that is illegal in the UFC. Soccer kicking the head of a downed fighter, illegal in the UFC, but in other MMA organizations, stomping and kicking and kneeing the head of a downed fighter is actually okay. For example, in one FC, there are positions where you can knee and kick the head of a downed fighter, okay? And that's okay. If you remember old tribe rules, you could totally stomp, soccer kick the head of a downed fighter. This is not to be confused with, say, UFC rules, where it's okay to kick the leg or the body, or knee the body, the downed fighter. That's okay in the UFC. What I want to bring to you today, what I want to offer you today, is the fact that kicks and stomps to the head of a downed fighter don't actually make that big of a difference in the sport of mixed martial arts. What? Don't you remember Pride FC, where all of those fighters got kicked and stomped? Yeah, because the referees were too slow to stop the fight and called it a TKO. Head stomps, head kicks, soccer kicks to the head of a downed fighter only happen, or predominantly happen, when a fighter is no longer intelligently defending himself.
In this particular part of Seth's video, what's not shown, and I really wish he would have because it was really cool and really educational, was Seth attempting to touch Mike in the head with his foot, trying to kick Mike in the head. Now, Mike is a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's not using super high-level black belt guard retention. He's using basic white belt level guard retention. And Seth was unable to touch Mike in the head with his foot. Unable to land a kick at all to the head. To the legs and body, that's a different story. Kicks, stomps, soccer kicks in particular, to the head of a downed fighter only land, or primarily land, when the fight should have been called by the referee as a technical knockout. So those fond memories of those near fatalities that we had in Pride Fighting Championship, when the referee would run in there and stop the fight after a discombobulated fighter, no longer intelligently defending himself, had received half a dozen kicks and stomps to the head, when he already didn't know which way was up and which way was down. Yeah. Let's try to take off the rose-colored glasses and see that for what it actually is.
I'm just going to try to touch his head with my foot, okay? And you don't let me touch your head with your foot, okay? Let's go. You might notice, as long as his guard is up, as long as he exercises basic guard retention, keeps these legs here, keeps his head all the way over there, it's going to be really hard for my foot to get anywhere close to his head. If he is hit to the point where he's basically knocked out and he's no longer moving his legs, then boom, that head kick's going to be really easy. Here, switch with me. Here, see if you can touch my head with your foot. And again, it's just basic guard retention. As long as my guard is up, my head is as far away from me as possible, I'm going to be okay. But if I offer my head right here, if I'm not doing anything, try that setting be like, oh man, I just got hit 15 times in the head. Oh, I just got kicked again. Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's what we saw a lot in Pride FC. Now, what is game changing? Knees to the head of a downed fighter. 3 positions. Can I borrow? Sprawl control. Maybe he just shot for a takedown. I just got sprawl control. Knee, boom, to the head of the downed fighter. This is illegal under the unified rules, that's UFC rules. Perfectly fine under other rule sets such as universal rules. So if I lift this knee up, boom, I can score some significant damage right there. If we put him on his back, get into side control here, now I'm in a position where I can, boom, boom, start dropping knees on the head as well. If I move into north-south, again, this is a position where, boom, boom, we can do significant damage with the knees. So knees to the head of a downed fighter, huge, huge game-changing thing if we're going to change the rules of mixed martial arts. But, one more time, kicks, stomps, soccer kicks to the head. You might notice he's got his legs up here. All right, now if we stand up and we're fighting and he lands a knockout shot or a punch on my jaw, boom, and suddenly I'm like, where am I? What's going on? Boom. That is where the soccer kicks come into play. But if you're a good referee, and I'm a referee, I'm a professional referee, I've done it many times. If I see a guy get clipped on the jaw and he drops and gets wobbly, and he starts looking around like, where am I? The fight stops right there. Right? I don't wait for the other guy to pounce on him, and neither should you if you're a referee. So that's what I have to say. My kicks and stomps to the head of a downed fighter. It's a bit of a freak show. And we remember it fondly from the old Pride days, but it is what it is. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train. Put your gi on. It's cuddle time. Thanks to xmartial.com. Go check them out. They got t-shirts, shorts, spats, fightwear. xmartial.com. Use my code Ramsey10 for 10% off everything. Links in the description.